And welcome everyone to the Service Box on the Ladies Professional Racquetball Tour. My name is Tim Baghurst, joined by TJ Bombaugh and Jay Josie. Rare appearance, Jay, on the Service Box. Welcome. You're always behind the scenes. Good to have you on the screen.
Good to be here, man.
All right. Well, we wanted to kind of bring everybody together, the executive team, have a conversation with fans, talk about racquetball, talk about discussions that are going on in racquetball. And then next week we resume with more chat with players and so on. So if you have questions for us, get them in your chat box. We want a lot of discussion tonight. We don't want it to be just us three. We talk to each other enough. We don't need to do it on air, right?
Agreed.
All right. Well, I know, TJ, you wanted to get it started with a little Q&A. So why don't we do that while people get on and put their questions in the chat box.
Yeah, we'll go through our same format, rapid fire questions, and this time you guys are my subjects. So let's go. First thing that comes to mind, what is the most interesting thing you've done during the stay-at-home quarantine?
Who's starting?
You.
You go.
No, I wanted you to go. We bought a house and moved house.
Well, I got another apartment mainly because I didn't feel like organizing and cleaning up the other one, so I just moved across the parking lot to a bigger and better one. To make it real easy.
More space. Well, congrats to both.
The question is, did you get your deposit back? That's what I want to know.
I mean, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. They didn't say they didn't give it to me, so I didn't ask any questions. So.
All right. Next question. Outside of racquetball, what do you like to do for fun?
Like to read. Like to watch shows, sports documentaries in particular. But having a family, having two growing boys, one 14, one 10, we do a lot of stuff around what they're interested in doing.
Well, but outside of racquetball, I mean, I'm a tech guy. I like a lot of tech stuff. But mainly, lately, last couple of years, I've really been getting into, making apparel. I got a couple racquetball apparel lines, clothes, anything, a lot of face masks now. I never thought that I would be 35 years old doing arts and crafts in my spare bedroom. So, yeah.
All right. What's the most interesting thing you ate while traveling with the LPRT? We've been a lot of places.
Yeah, but we haven't really been anywhere, particularly exotic. I've been eating primarily vegetarian for the last couple of years. So it's hard to get exotic when you're eating vegetables, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I can't think of anything dramatic.
I mean, that time that you ordered that, that weird fish stuff at that really bad place in San Luis that I want us to go to, that was pretty exotic in a bad way.
That's true. And it was the first night.
Yeah. I mean, mine is definitely from Mexico too. I can't remember if it was Rosarito Beach or whatnot. I actually ended up eating oxtail, and that's something that's actually pretty popular here in the South, and I just never had it. But I didn't know till after the fact that it was that. It was cut off the bone and stuff. But it was super interesting. I just thought it was just some kind of, I don't know, but it was oxtail. I was a little surprised, but it was good. Yeah.
Very Caribbean. So when you guys were kids, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Pilot.
That's sort of the same thing that I wanted to be. So Tim, flying airplanes or helicopters?
Airplanes.
Yeah, mine was helicopters. So yeah.
I had to do it. My eyesight at the time, if you didn't have 20/20 vision, you weren't flying. So I had to give up on that dream.
Well, all right. If you could have any job in the world right now, no restrictions, what would you do?
Oh, man.
That's a hard one. I would like to be a philanthropist. I don't think it's a job, but I would like to have the opportunity to do things for other people in a way where, there's no need to have a return on investment, right? We talk about that all the time when we talk about sponsorships and time at work and when I'm at work, my superiors kind of like, well, why are you doing this? What's your return on investment? And it's like, man, I'd like to do some stuff where there isn't really that return on investment. We can just do it and make people happy and do good things for people.
Well, you know, I love what I do, man. And, you know, I love running my own business. And I think that if I could do anything, I would probably do the exact same thing I'm doing now, but maybe in a more exotic place. You know, man, I mean, we visited a lot of really cool places around the world. And, you know, like, you know, I think same thing I'm doing now, just a more exotic place.
All right. Last question. If you won $1 million, $1 million tomorrow, what's the first thing you would do?
Put it in a bank, secure it somehow. I mean, I'm the conservative, careful, don't be rash kind of guy. And so I'd probably portion it out, and some would go in retirement, some would go in savings, some would go to our kids when they're older. And then we'd probably spend some of it on, you know, remodeling the house or something.
Yeah, you know, I would probably, I mean, I wouldn't be as conservative as Tim. I would definitely maybe put away like half of it. But, you know, I'd immediately like waste 200 or 300 like really fast, like 72 hours, something like that. But I mean, definitely, I would give a lot to my family first. And, you know, I'd find some way to, you know, to give some stuff to racquetball in a meaningful way.
All right. All right. Good answers. Thank you, guys.
All right. So I wanted to do some questions for you guys because, you know, TJ, you're the one always asking these hard questions.
Exactly.
And I was waiting for the question, you know, what is the last book you've read? Because I wanted to know what Jay was going to answer. So Jay.
Let's see, the last book I read. One of the clients that I have right now with my business, she told me the other day that I needed to relax. And she handed me this little book that was like 40 pages long on about how to relax. And I actually read that. And I'm really glad you asked this question now and not like last week, because like my answer would have been way worse than that. But yeah, it was by some like Tibetan philosopher or something about how to relax. And that, you know, it was interesting. You know, had some techniques in there. So yeah.
TJ, what about you?
I think the last one that I finished was Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. I think I have a stack of books ready to read. I started reading, the one I have open right now is The Other Westmore by the author Westmore, which is very interesting too. So,
okay, so I'm going to ask you both a series of 2 choices, okay? And the idea here is, again, you just answer. There's no deliberation. There's no debate. It's just whatever comes to your head. So I'm going to give you 2 options, and you just got to give me whichever one comes to mind, okay? So we're going to start with apples or oranges?
apples.
Oranges, man, it's COVID. You need that vitamin C.
Pepsi or Coke? These are supposed to be fast. Come on.
No, you can't
I don't drink soda.
I mean, I like them both. I mean, Pepsi.
Is that a guess?
Yeah, Pepsi.
All right. Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Beach.
Ford or Chevy?
Chevy.
Chevy.
Basketball or football?
Football.
Football.
Barcelona or Real Madrid?
Say it again.
Barcelona or Real Madrid?
Is that other football thing? Real Madrid? That sounds cool.
Madrid.
East Coast or West Coast?
East Coast.
East Coast.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
You know, normally, summer. We're doing summer. But it's like 103 degrees right now, though.
Spring or fall?
Spring.
Fall. Hoodie weather.
Running or cycling?
Cycling.
Running.
Beer or wine?
Beer.
Yes.
No, there's no
wine if I could only pick one.
Apple or PC?
PC.
Apple.
Android or Apple?
Apple.
Apple.
Really interesting.
Yeah, everybody in the IT field, they so weirded out that I'm all about iPhones versus Android stuff. But I've got Android devices too. So
Yeah. Netflix or Amazon Prime?
Netflix. The answer is Netflix, TJ. Just say Netflix. Yeah.
Okay, Netflix.
Yeah. Trust me.
Clearly, that's not my department.
Yeah. Just say Netflix.
All right. This isn't one option. This is 5 options. Power 5 conference.
SEC.
Big Ten.
Oldies or today's music?
Today's.
By oldies, what decades are we talking about here?
We're talking about pre-2000.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's not really old.
Yeah, 90 stuff is really
20
good.
years. I mean, it's at least 20 years.
Yeah, music got really bad around 2001 or 2. Some with Nickelback, and it just got really bad. But anything before that's all right.
See, I've liked the pop music up until like the past 6 months hasn't been very good.
Where was I? Europe or Asia?
Europe.
Kangaroo or koala?
Koala.
Koala, man. I'm gonna fight a kangaroo. Kangaroos will man.
Gladiator or Avatar?
Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Batman.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
I mean, I'm just getting into coffee, so I'm gonna say coffee because I don't like tea.
Manual or automatic?
Automatic.
Automatic.
Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Dude,
Love those holidays.
like this.
Yeah, but this is
Christmas, but I mean, seriously, like, that's too close.
Yeah, they're both so great.
I know, but if you had one, this is the whole point.
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny or Mickey Mouse?
Bugs Bunny.
Mickey.
I mean, I love Disney World,
Disney.
but yeah, Bugs probably.
Cabbage or cauliflower?
Cauliflower.
Cabbage.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Adidas or Nike?
Nike.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I mean, I'm wearing Adidas right now, but we're gonna say Nike.
Clothes, I'm going Nike. Shoes, I'm going Adidas. Correct.
You always find a way. Blue or green?
What was that again?
Blue or green?
Green.
Blue.
Delta or American?
American.
American. I rarely fly either one of those.
Chicago or New York?
New York.
New York.
Checkers or chess?
Checkers.
Checkers.
Xbox or PlayStation?
Oh my God.
Oh no. Okay. Oh God.
See, this one is just for Jay, TJ. You don't have to answer this one.
No,
For Jay.
All right. I've been bringing the Xbox. Okay, when we go places, but recently I've gotten into a fighting game kick, and it's been PS4. So, but I mean, again, this is like Thanksgiving, Christmas for me. Like, I'm really upset about these questions.
That's all I had. Hey, I'm glad you're upset. It made you think a little bit. Made you make some decisions. It's always a good thing, decision making. Just a reminder, if you're just joining us, we're just spending a little time getting to know TJ, Jay, myself. We want to take your questions about racquetball. So if you have questions about racquetball, you want to talk about the tour, about racquetball in general, put them in your chat box, and we'll do our best to address them. But later on, we want to play Kahoot. Jay gets to play, do you get to play? Do you know the answers, Jay? You created the quiz.
Yeah, I shouldn't be allowed to play. Yeah. I mean, if you want to, I mean, I'm all about winning. That's fine. But I will definitely win because I do. I mean, I can see the answers right in front of my face.
Okay, that's not fair. That's not fair. So unfortunately, Jay can't play. So next time I'm going to have to do it. But yeah, join us for Kahoot. Go to kahoot.it, enter the PIN code 96263, and enter your random name and join us in a game of Kahoot that we'll play in about 15 or 20 minutes. So if you have questions so far, I think, let me just check. Looks like the only question is, are we playing Kahoot? Yes, we are. So TJ, you had some questions to start us off, and then people can hopefully ask some questions as we go.
Yeah, something I don't know that everybody knows about you two. How did you both get involved with the LPRT?
Jay, you started before me, so you can go first.
Well, so I knew this dude, Russ Bruns. He's kind of been, my mentor of South Carolina racquetball, and in a lot of things. He was the president of the association before I was, and just like mentoring lots of things, not just racquetball. He's a great dude. And TJ, you and Russ obviously have been friends for a very long time. And, I may have met you maybe before this, but I think it was November 2016. And there was a tour stop in Monterrey, Mexico. And at the time, you were the only, I think, employee of the tour, and you couldn't make that stop. Like someone had just left the tour, whoever was doing the streaming before. And basically, Russ suggested me because I know racquetball and can use a computer, and my schedule was flexible at the time. And so you called me, we talked about it. You asked me if I could go to Mexico. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go to Mexico. And I asked you when, and you're like, well, like 2 weeks. And I'm like, all right, I'll go. So I noticed after I got off the phone with you that my passport was expired. So the next morning I drove 4 hours to the regional passport office in Atlanta and paid like $200 to get my passport like fast track. And they told me they'd have it at the end of the day. I went out and I slept in my car for like 5 hours. And then I met up with JT Racquetball. Everybody knows that guy from Facebook in Atlanta. I played some racquetball with him. And then at 5 o'clock, they had it ready. I picked it up. Like 10 days later, I got on the plane, went to Mexico, just me there. And the rest is history. November 2016.
Those are some crazy times.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this sounds like Jay, right?
Yeah.
Mine was a little different. I'd been working with the international racquetball for several years, and really, I think out of the blue, I got a call from you, TJ, and just, I know you do commentary and stuff. I think it was Kansas City, right? Where I was about 4 hours drive away. And so you asked if I'd come up and help with the commentary. And so sure, why not? It's close, fun, get to do something new. And I came up and I think I did that. And I did one in San Antonio. That's where it started, at San Antonio, because I came down to do drug testing for the IRF at the WRT. And the WRT was having an IRT. It was a WRT IRT event combined. And that's, I think, when I started helping you. And then went to Kansas City and kind of went from there. But really, this has been the first season that I've been involved with the LPRT. So all of the places we've been going have been new. All the people have been new. And so it's been a lot of fun. Just, seeing new people, seeing new places.
What are you most surprised about, if anything, about the LPRT specifically?
I think, and I know better because I've been with the IRF, but I think there's the assumption that there's a large group of people working behind the scenes to make things look the way they do on stream. And then when you get there and it's literally 2 or 3 people, i.e. us 3, and we're literally doing all of it, I think that surprises people. And I think the first time I kind of saw it with the IRF, it was a surprise as well, of just like, wow, I thought this was a bigger group of people. And I think that's a testament to the amount of work we do to make sure that we're as good as we can be. But that has been kind of a, not necessarily eye-opening for me, but just really, it makes you appreciate how much you need everybody on the team. Because if you or Jay were not there, it would be difficult. That's an understatement.
But you're definitely one of our competitive advantages, Tim. I mean, we've got some good commentary. So
Thanks. You didn't answer the question though.
Well,
Jay, what has
I have no idea. I've been met people trying to explain some of the things I've said.
what has surprised you most, if anything, about the LPRT?
Well, what surprised me most is just the athletes on the tour. I mean, like literally every single one of these extremely talented women are just, I mean, they're so grounded. They're great people. I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable. Like, I mean, how awesome the women are. I mean, I don't know what I can't really say enough about them. But I mean, really, you know, we have you know, an amazing group of elite women, and you know, we're lucky for it.
Good. What do you think, I'll ask one more question and then Tim, you go ahead, but what do you think some of the biggest challenges are for racquetball, but specifically the LPRT?
Yeah, you know, if you follow what I do for a living, and I'm the director of a coaching center at FSU, today I interviewed an owner of a women's tackle football team in Denver, and she's part of an organization called the Women's Football Alliance. And I talked with her, and I also talked with the owner of the actual whole organization last week. And it was really interesting because a lot of what they were saying were things that you and I and Jay hear all the time, which are we have a good product, but a lot of times people don't know about the product, either because it's females, and so we just want to watch the males, or we just want to know about the males, or it's because you're a small sport and therefore you're not really as interesting to me as this other sport, which is on ESPN. And so I think for the LPRT in particular, it's just getting exposure of you, TJ, you know this, Jay, you know this, any of you watching know that when you're at one of these tournaments and you see these ladies play, it's unbelievable how good they are and how professional they are on and off the court. I mean, it is impressive. And their training regimens are dedicated. This isn't an amateur tour. These ladies really train hard, and they really come and they really put on a show. And those people who have never seen it before come in, and TJ, we've talked about this. Well, they'll be like, "Wow, these ladies are amazing." Now, how do we get that to the millions of people who've never seen any of this before? And I think that's the big challenge for us is we have a good product. I think we do a really good job with the stream. The ladies are very professional. Now, how do we get this out there so that people go, you know what? I want to see this. This is a good match. Doesn't matter who it is or who's playing. It's going to be close. I want to see who wins. And that's, I think, our big challenge.
Okay, thanks. Jay?
Yeah, so with me, if everything was equal, and if everything was mature in the sport, and we had this great foundation to build off of just with the sport in general, I mean, our product is phenomenal, from the the players on up. But I mean, it's just, I mean, we are the three only employees, of this tour, of people that work for this tour, and we have a finite amount of time, a finite amount of resources. And I mean, it's just, I mean, that's, to me, that's the biggest challenge. But so not only do we, if we want to grow, the ladies tour, not only do we have to do better in what we're doing, but we also, because of the state of the sport, we also have to spend time on, fixing and growing, stuff like the sport in general on the grassroots level. So, I mean, it's a very difficult task. If you guys have seen recently, the Mississippi State Racquetball Association, they're losing some courts. And I had a little private Zoom meeting with me and my buddy Matt Fink and and the Mississippi guys, maybe a week ago. And South Carolina Racquetball is going to help them out financially and some other things. But I mean, they asked me a question about the tour. They're like, what does the tour need, to grow, to do better? I mean, to overcome our challenges and things like that. I mean, in the first thing I want to say is more resources, more manpower, money, whatever. But it's just all this stuff is just 10 times harder for us to do anything because of, just the sport has been, in a decline. It isn't where, it used to be. I mean, it may be making a comeback or whatnot, but I mean, we have to worry about 10 things, every step we go that are outside the scope of our tour to just, to progress forward, which is, which sucks when you only have, 3 people. But I think we've done a pretty good job so far. I
think the challenge, though, Jay, as well, is looking at a tour perspective versus looking at a national organization perspective. And, the tour can't necessarily grow the sport at the grassroots level by offering clinics and coaching and all that at every club. We just can't do it. But I think what we can do is we can offer those junior clinics and things. And we did that at a couple places. And I know Virginia Beach, we introduced racquetball to some people who'd never even seen it before. And in Chicago, there was the juniors clinic. And I think if we can do little things like that, some of those kids may see that star power of, oh, I'm getting to talk to a professional. That may kind of draw them in. And, if I go back to what I was talking about with women's football, there was a show that came out recently called Born to Play, and it was on ESPN, and I think you can go and find it on your cable or whatever. But in that, one of the owners has a letter from a mom whose 8-year-old watched these women play. And this 8-year-old basically told mom, I'm going to be that when I grow up. Well, in order for her to be that when she grew up, she had to see it in person and know that it was possible. And if we're playing in front of people who all know racquetball and don't bring people who don't know racquetball, then we get no new people coming in. And so I think the tour can do some of that because there's some star power and kind of that kind of wow factor. But the clubs as well have to, really work hard to develop the infrastructure so that if we come in and do a clinic, there's people who want to be there as part of the clinic.
Good. That was my last question. So go ahead and turn it over to you there, Tim.
Yeah, we've had a few questions, and we'll start with JTRB Daily Racquetball. Always a big fan of the show. Thanks, JT. And he says, rally scoring. RKT talked about it earlier this week. Thoughts on doing that again?
Ugh. We tried that. I remember years ago. It was probably, I know I was playing the tour. It might have been 10, 12 years ago or something. We tried it, and I will say 99% of the players who played that type of scoring really disliked it. It just wasn't popular. I don't think it added anything to the actual game. So I'm not a fan of it, but what do you guys think about that?
So like personally, like for me and watching racquetball, like for me, I mean, I'm not a fan. But I mean, I see why they're talking about that. I mean, you can technically like package these racquetball matches into like, much smaller, compact presentations. And just to give you an example, like when we switched from 2 games from 5, like, I wasn't a big fan of that either. Like, I mean, I felt like 5 games is what differentiated us. And I mean, like, seeing a 5-game tiebreaker, I mean, in some of those times when Samantha beat Paola, I mean, that was nuts. And we'll, be a long time before we see anything like that again. But, because we're not doing 5 games anymore. But, when we just, for instance, like when we went to the 2 games, I mean, it did shorten the match. And I feel like we've been able to put more into that shortened match, like more production value and things. And I understand why they want to do it. They want to just shorten this stuff so they can get it on TV, they can get it out there Olympic wise, that kind of thing. So I get that. But me personally, like, I don't know, like I'm not a fan. So.
Well, I'm going to sit on the other side of the fence. And the reason I'm doing so is because I look across all the other sports and say, which sport is not doing it, is not doing rally scoring that in a, badminton or tennis or volleyball or any of these sports. They're all doing rally scoring. And so a couple of years ago, probably, man, time flies. I read up on this because It's been one of the questions that keeps coming up. And so there was a study done in volleyball in looking at rally scoring, because one of the arguments for rally scoring is that it helps the weaker opponent, right? Because they can get a point even when they haven't served and scored a point. And so it kind of narrows the gap, so to speak. And they did a study, and what they actually found was that it didn't actually do that. And whoever was supposed to win actually generally won. And so, there's upsets like any sport, but there was no kind of, oh, look, we've made parity in this sport. But what they did find is that the matches actually ended a lot more predictably in terms of time. And I think that's important. And if I go back to the Pan Am Games, for example, some of those matches were insanely long, to the point where, if you're a director of a tournament or of a major sports organization, and you go, well, we've got TV rights and all this stuff, why would we want racquetball? It could be a 15-minute match, maybe not 15, that's unrealistic, but it could be a 30-minute match, or it could be a 2.5-hour match. And yeah, that happens sometimes in tennis, but more often than not, it doesn't. And what they found in volleyball is when they went to rally scoring, they saw more kind of that more normal distribution of times, and so it made it more attractive to an audience, because they know how long the match is generally going to be, and also TV, they know how long the match is generally going to be, so they can schedule it accordingly. So I think if you look at it from that perspective, you could argue that rally scoring makes more sense. I don't know. I kind of like rally scoring in some ways as well, just because it makes you focus every time, because there's a point at stake, as opposed to I'm serving, I can play a little loose, or I can change my tactics. I can't afford to, hit this serve long, because I'm going to lose a point, as opposed to, or my opponent's going to gain a point, as opposed to, it's just a side out. I think mentally, I think the game changes in that situation.
Yeah, it was tested. Like I said, it was tested before, and it was. I don't think it came across with the results that you are just talking about, and that's why they went away from it before. But again, it wasn't popular at the time, but maybe that means it needs to be a different format. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think there's different ways. I mean, you do research, right? Be the scientist and kind of play around with it. And, do you have to win by a certain margin, or should we play this many points and have this many games, or should we have less games and more points? If you played a 25 versus 15 and it's rally scoring, again, mentally, somebody may switch off for a long time when you're playing a 25, which is what they used to do back in the 70s, right? So I don't know. I'm just kind of hypothesizing that, if we want to see more, okay, we start at this time and finish at this time, and generally all the matches are going to finish within this range of time, rally scoring is more likely to do that. Okay. One of the questions, have you started any new hobbies since COVID-19?
Yeah, I started hitting a forehand.
TJ?
New hobbies, not so new, but I've played a lot of outdoor racquetball, and much more one wall, which I feel is still kind of new to me. I've only played it for, the past 2 years maybe. And I'm still trying to figure it out. It's a challenge. So I'm going to say that one wall racquetball.
I've learned some renovation skills. I wouldn't call it a hobby, because I wouldn't choose to do some of the things I've had to do. But I've learned some new skills, and it kind of feels good having learned some skills and done some things in the house. Maria Renee is actually going to be on next week. She's in charge of the stream next week. So be sure to tune in. Maciel Rivera and Brenda Laime will be interviewed in Espanol. She says, what's your favorite thing about working for the LPRT, and or favorite memory?
Do you guys, when do you want to go first?
Okay, well, so Maria Renee, I mean, Maria Renee is someone who gets embarrassed very easily, so I don't understand why she would ask this question because, of course, her being my significant other, like, it's something involving her. But let's just say anything that didn't involve Maria Renee, that that first trip to Monterrey, Mexico was really awesome. And I remember we went to this maybe Saturday night. Me, Susie Acosta, Montse Mejia, Carla Munoz, and maybe somebody, I can't remember who else was there. We went to this vegan restaurant Saturday night, and I got this cauliflower burger and these like super burnt kale chips. Like, I love kale chips now, man. I make them like every day, but it was terrible. And like at that point in my life, like that was the last thing I wanted. And so, I mean, I was like eating this just to eat it. And, I didn't want to like, not eat. And Montse was just staring at me the whole time, just laughing because she could tell I hated it. But that day, that trip, that was a good memory.
You just put hot sauce on it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I ended up putting a whole lot of really spicy Mexican hot sauce on it. It was edible after that. Yeah.
I think for me, the most favorite part is being in a great game, a great match, and just being front and center and having the opportunity to witness that right there. And, there's just the excitement, and you can just feel it all around you, the energy of people watching, some for one player, some for the other player. And it's just great to be part of that. And I think the best or my favorite memory is we were in Bolivia. And we were down there, TJ, you and I, and literally people are practically, well, Jay was there too, practically sitting on us because there was no room in the stadium. And when I say stadium, it was a stadium. And I remember just turning around and just kind of going, wow, to see thousands of people, and then looking and seeing people lining out the building, waiting to get in, and there were no tickets available because it was sold out. And then just being in that environment and watching, Maria Jose Vargas, in front of a lot of people supporting her play so well. And it was just a real experience to be part of that.
The energy in that stadium at that time, when in such a close match, a 5-gamer and tiebreaker, all that, those are very special memories. That kind of energy. What I like most about the working with the tour or working for the tour is definitely the people, the players, which I totally enjoy as a player myself, and making all kinds of friendships while I was a player, and being able to travel to different cities and enjoying not just the event and playing as an athlete, but outside of the tournament, being able to travel and see different sites and cities with some of my closest friends that I made on tour. And I'll be honest, as I switched over from player to more of an executive role, I saw a lot of the people that I played with at the time leaving and retiring, and I thought, oh, I don't know if this is going to be the same for me. But I started to get to know the younger players as they were coming in, and it's been so much fun because they're so great. It's just like a whole new, obviously different age group for me, but a whole new group of people that are just so enjoy. And you guys, Tim and Jay, I really enjoy our camaraderie and banter and fun and the antics that we have and all that kind of stuff. Favorite moments, there's so many, and I'll tie that into with the friendships and the players that I've really gotten to know. Once I get to know the players, to watch those players go and have success at a big tournament like Vargas winning in Bolivia or Paola winning on the grand stage of the U.S. Open, I get very emotional seeing that. I know these players, and I really I get a little teary even just watching them because I know them all pretty well. So yeah, there are all those, and that and the challenges of running a tour and trying to build it up and make it better.
Yeah, and I gotta say, and I know Jay will agree that TJ puts in an enormous amount of time to make the tour work, and so you're not allowed to leave, TJ. End of story. Let's get to some questions that have been coming in. We want to do a few more questions, but then we're going to go into Kahoot in just a few minutes. So
these would be good questions, man. I mean, we could be here like 2 hours with these.
Yeah, and so I want to, I kind of want to finish, and we need to do Kahoot. And I know my son's waiting because he wants to try his best to beat Dad. And not happening, Asa. Sorry, dude. But yeah, here's a couple questions real quick. TJ, other professional sports list salaries, earnings, etc. Has the LPRT ever considered posting a year-to-date player prize money earnings list?
No. And I'm joking, but I mean that knowledge. All the players have a handbook that lists all of their monies won or their earnings per event. It wouldn't be that difficult to figure out. I think that's something that I would probably want to run by the players before I put that all out there publicly. I do remember a few years where ESPN had ESPN Deportes contacted Paula and asked for her salary, and that was personal to her for her own safety. So, for a lot of reasons, I would probably want to check with the players on that. But
yeah, and there's a difference between the salary and the amount they win, and literally we could go and figure it out ourselves with just what prize money is and things. But it might also show differentials as well.
Yeah, and I think the breakdown of who wins the amount of money, like in the handbook, I think a lot of people, aren't aware of that, and it's actually pretty interesting. But Jordan's a really big supporter of the LPRT, and I'm glad you're watching, man.
Interesting idea. David Staub says some of the things you're listing seem to be the same thing every other segment of our sport is also identifying. And this goes back to kind of where we were talking about growing the sport and so on. How can we consolidate and align the national governing bodies, tours, state association, leagues, focus on some common items? Am I missing something? So it's the big question, right?
Yes, I mean, I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, all needs to be one group," and I don't necessarily agree that everybody should be on the same page, because we have our focus and we're all for the good of the sport. However, I think more now than ever before, the organizations are working together more. Definitely, we have a lot of discussions with the IRT, the USAR, IRF even. Mike Grizz, the commissioner of the IRT, and myself had a phone call the other day with Osvaldo Maggi, who is the president of IRF. And I think there's just more collaboration because of the need for the sport. So I think it's going in the right direction. Do I think that everybody needs to be under the same group, under the same leader? No, I don't think. I think that would be detrimental to each organization's focus.
And I would say as well that the LPRT and the IRT, for that matter, the majority of the players are from outside the US. Mm-hmm. And so we as an LPRT have to look globally at how do we build the LPRT rather than how do we just build it in the US. If we look at the US, though, I think we could, we've been to Bolivia, we've been to Mexico, we've seen junior clinics and, all these kids playing all over the place. And I think there's value in going and looking at, okay, what are your best practices? How do you run your programs and your clinics, and how do you charge, and how can we maybe pull the best out of what they're doing and bring it back to the US? Because, we had Winterton on a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how he coached in Mexico, and they pulled from the US and put it into Mexico, and Mexico adapted it a little bit. Bolivia have adapted it a little bit and have made it their own, and they're seeing success. So how do we go and say, okay, what are they doing? Let's use what they're doing and make it work in the US. Okay, last question, and then we'll get into Kahoot. So just if you haven't yet logged in, make sure you do so. The number is on your screen, 96263 kahoot.it. Last question was from Brian Pineda, and he says, what presence will the LPRT have at the big outdoor event, 3 Wall Ball Outdoor Championships in Vegas? And it was like, Brian, last week, my friend, where were you on this show? Because it was all about Vegas. But TJ, go ahead.
Well, hopefully a big presence. I'm encouraging the players to play as long as they feel safe traveling there and are able to travel there, that they go and play Vegas. If you missed last week's conversation, the LPRT is starting an outdoor pro ranking system. So separate from indoor, so points for indoor won't count over to outdoor, but outdoor points can be earned at Vegas and in California at Beach Bash, the 3 major events for outdoor. So we will start just to promote it, to promote outdoor and promote just some cross promotion. Again, working together with some of the other organizations. I think outdoor is a very valuable piece of our sport. Yeah, and it's fun.
Yeah, and I think more people have played it over the last several months than have played it in recent times, just because of the coronavirus environment and courts being shut and so on. So, yeah, we'll see it. It's going to be exciting though to have 2 different ranking systems where players are coming in and, well, they're good here, but over here they're number 1 kind of thing, and it'll be interesting to see. Jay, are we ready to go with Kahoot?
We're ready, man.
Okay, so last 30 seconds while I just give a few explanations. If you're new to Kahoot, go to kahoot.it, enter the pin on your screen, 96263. You're going to be asked a series of questions, and you choose one of the options for the answer. It'll be true or false, or, kind of that ABCD thing. But note, in terms of scoring, the faster you answer, the higher your points are. So if you dilly-dally, if you delay, you like dilly-dally, that's a great word.
And this is all about women's sports. And if somebody gets all of these right, you're cheating. You're Googling. So, yeah, there's no way.
Unless you're Jay, because he knows all the answers and he'd beat everybody, right, Jay?
That's right. Only because they're in front of me.
All right, Jay, take it away.
All right. Put the screen on up.
All right, here we go. Double points to start. The LPRT in its current blank was started in what year?
Ooh, that should be in its current.
Yeah, Jay. Proofreading.
In its current state, or its
current state. Man, I hope I clicked the answer you told me to click.
10 seconds. We have a longer wait just because we know there's a delay between Facebook and you actually getting the question. And here we go. The answer was 2012. 4 of you were close at 2011. I have a feeling, TJ, this is going to be a hard one. Question 2. More than 90,000 fans in the stands watched the U.S. women's soccer team defeat what country? Russia, Brazil, China, or Germany?
I'm just.
I think that's Jay. I'm like, which year?
Hey,
is it the World Cup? Is it the World Championships?
I remember watching it. I don't remember. I remember U.S. winning, but I'm gonna have to guess on what team won.
I think I got it wrong. Nah, I got it wrong. China. No way.
Oh no.
Well, Wonder Panda got it right. Well done, Wonder Panda. Amendment said that no American women could be denied from participating in sports. Title 3-9 Women's Rock Amendment never happened. Rock Amendment. What?
It's a good question.
I mean, you could have. Oh my gosh, Women's Rock Amendment.
Look, These are not mine.
Okay. Okay. 5 seconds left. And almost somebody put it Women's Rock Amendment.
I mean, that sounded okay, right?
All right, next question. Question 4. First woman to win 3 gold medals happened in 1960. I'm not going to pronounce that first one. Shamika O'Connor. There we go. Wilma Fudd, Billie Jean King, Wilma Rudolph.
So, guys, if you're getting these wrong, I urge you to check your men's sport bias. Okay, so start learning about women's sports.
Wilma Rudolph. 3 got it right. Wonder Panda closing in on 3rd place. Gertrude Elderly was the first woman to do this. Swim the English Channel, swim the Atlantic, run a 3-minute mile, win 4 gold medals. Well, I'm gonna guess, TJ, it has something to do with swimming.
I'm guessing by the picture there.
Yeah. Now, if we use our context clues from the previous question, we can eliminate one of these at least.
I think it's going to come down to speed, clicking.
But then if we think Princess Bride and Jay, we know that Jay would do the opposite, right? Just to mess us up. But no, swim the English Channel. 7 out of 8 got it right. She led the U.S. to basketball gold in the 1984 Olympics. Swoops, Dickerson, Staley, Cheryl Miller. Ooh.
And I'm not saying this is the answer, but Dawn Staley is currently the coach of University of South Carolina women's basketball team. You know, my alma mater.
And I actually, Jay, believe it or not, I actually quote her in my class.
That's great, man. Yeah, that's the best thing we got going on right now.
In South Carolina?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Cheryl Miller is the right answer. Everybody got Cheryl, apart from one. Clever Jaguar up into the lead. These sisters competed against each other for the U.S. Open Championship in 2001.
Tennis.
Oh, I got it wrong. I didn't read it. Oh, dang it.
Boy, those are tricky answers there.
It is. Hey, that's really. Yeah.
Take time and read all of them. Yeah.
I'm choking. Venus and Sharon Williams, Veronica and Serena Collins, Venus and Serena Williams, Serena and Venus Bacon.
It's like a high school teacher kind of answer, like those kids that rush to and take their tests.
I guess it depends on how hungry you are when you're reading this.
The thing is, then you're not measuring whether they know the answer. You're measuring whether they have the ability to actually read the question.
Yeah, it wasn't just you, Tim, that.
Yeah, I know. I feel better. I feel
pretty good about that question. I wish I could claim it.
TJ's crushing everybody at the top, though. Come on, guys. We gotta do better. This university women's basketball team won 90 consecutive games. Kansas, Connecticut, Notre Dame, UCLA.
I'm gonna claim that is an easy question.
It is an easy question.
If you're from the U.S.
The University of South Carolina Gamecocks. Oh, wait, that's not far.
No.
They didn't do that.
2 guessed Kansas, but it was Connecticut. This Olympic swimmer won 6 gold medals, recently suffered a spinal injury in a skiing accident. Ooh. I don't know this one. It was not who I expected.
I can tell you, I can clear the ones that it wasn't. So I narrowed it down to 2 and took my best guess.
Debbie Meyer, Dana Torres, Summer Saunders, but it's Amy Van Dyken.
You know what?
Got it right.
Actually, I would double check that because I heard Amy Van Dyken speak at a conference, and I believe she was injured in an all-terrain vehicle accident, not a skiing accident.
TJ's so good at the top of the leaderboard that she's calling into question the
Yeah,
actual.
you can't ask me to fact check these things.
I'm gonna say check that one.
Yeah, the internet creates these things, and they're all right.
Earnings of highest paid female athlete in 2013.
Oh gosh, I know who that is. Oh geez.
27.1, 12.5, 78 million, or 5 million.
Oh gosh.
Finally, one TJ doesn't know. She'll want to fact check if she gets it wrong, Jay, though.
Yeah, the next question is one I did. I really hope
Oh, no.
Oh no.
I'm just gonna.
Wow, 27.1 million.
All right. Please let me have worded this right. Here we go.
Double points. This player is the most successful women's racquetball player of all time.
Now you scored player twice, but it's okay. It makes sense.
Samantha Salas, Maria Jose Vargas, Rhonda Rasic, Paola Longoria. See, I'm surprised you didn't throw in some, classics. Michelle Gould, Jay. Maybe a Christy Van Hees. You could have thrown her in. She's a Hall of Famer in the IRF. Longoria.
That's right.
And third place, Stellar Jaguar. Helpful Squid in second, and in first place. Again, right? Clever Jaguar. TJ, way to go.
I thought that was a clever name.
Are you sure that's you though? Can you take a screenshot just to prove that? Fact checking questions over here.
Well, maybe not.
All right. Well done, everybody. Thanks for participating in that, and hope you enjoyed it. So, TJ, before we kind of roll off, let's talk a little bit about LPRT and kind of what the season looks like. What do we know? Do we know anything?
I know this has been a real challenge this season. I did reach out again to the players. I've heard back from quite a few of them that I would say 85 to 90% of the players right now don't have access to an indoor court to practice. I have reached out also to some locations for a possible Supermax Slam, our teamroot.com classic event. That's our sponsor still. Randy Root is still willing to host that. So I've reached out to a couple locations, and we'll see. Right now, I'm kind of watching the players to see what kind of timeline we have, and as some of the states maybe open up, some are closing again. So it's tough. It's kind of at this point, it's a little bit early. We're still in July, so as we get through maybe even August, then maybe we'll be able to make some decisions. So
real quickly, courts are open, right? They opened up in Mexico. They opened up Bolivia. They're open up in the U.S. How long before we can have a tournament to ensure that players are prepared and ready to compete?
Well, not just ready, but I'm telling the players that I will try to give them 8 weeks notice. And that's for training and being ready on court and practice time. But also some of these players have to organize their travel with their governments. For some of them, it's not an easy task. So just to give them plenty of notice, and then we'll go from there. So there's still time left. It's just, there is a world pandemic going on. So we'll do the best we can.
And so from that perspective, we're not looking at anything before October.
I'm going to say probably nothing in August or September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then last thing, Jay, we've worked hard to improve the broadcast, and I know we have people out there who who may be interested in supporting the LPRT, not necessarily as a sponsor, but they like what we do. They like the effort we're putting in, and hey, maybe they can help us out with some things. What do we need to make our broadcast and everything better? I mean, if you talked about it earlier, it's like, this isn't the be all and end all. We don't need all this to make it what the LPRT can be, but it certainly helps. So are there any specific needs that maybe somebody could help fill?
Yeah. So, I think everybody here would say like money, resources would be the first thing. But I mean, no amount. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, if we had a ton of money, yeah, that'd be great.
Right.
But I mean, that would really change things. But a lot of people want to come in. They want to spend all this money, buy all this extremely nice equipment and whatnot. Well, we're not even really maximizing like what we can do now with with what we've got in our our current resource set. But really, I mean, just the way that you help like this production, I mean, we do need in some cases like some more manpower. We don't necessarily need people, traveling with us and that kind of thing. There's like JP Edwards and JT Racquetball. I mean, they've all helped us remotely or on site and that kind of thing. But we need people like that want to step up and help out and help us grow this thing. But we can always use some better equipment and things like that. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, we're really just looking for more manpower, and we need to make more money to be able to do that. And we want to make this, we want to have resources available to us in terms of manpower to make this like a full featured production, with stats and all kinds of craziness. I mean, stats is a big thing. I mean, like, with Todd Boss doing all that. I mean, like, if we had somebody to develop like the go between, and this is to all you, computer science majors out there, like we had somebody to develop kind of a go between API, something, to grab those stats. And, we can easily display that stuff on screen. I mean, anything like that. I mean, yeah, we can collect stuff before a match and, throw stuff on there, but I'm talking about like a real, developed system like that, like, that a mature sport would have. I mean, there's a lot of work outside just having shiny equipment and having money that, that we could do to make, to make this really cool.
Yeah. And I would kind of follow that up with even things like highlight reels, right? For matches that we can share out digitally on social media that are shareable. And those things just take time. And all three of us have jobs. And so it's just one of those, it's another thing that we have to do. And so I think if there's people out there who have those skills, man, that would be really, really useful for us to be able to package those in a way where we could get them out and really spread the word. TJ, any final thoughts?
Just really, if you at home want the easiest thing that you can do to support the LPRT is just like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, follow the players on Instagram and Facebook. That goes a long way. Just those likes and sharing a post here or there really helps us out in our numbers. So thank you all for watching. Appreciate all the support that you do give the LPRT and those phenomenal players.
Well, that's all for us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Just a reminder, next week, Maria Jose Vargas, Maria Renee Rodriguez will be joining us as she interviews Maciel Rivera and Brenda Laime about their life and playing doubles together and what that's like. So hope you join us for that. It will be in Spanish. But until then, my thanks from Jay and TJ for joining me, Tim Backhurst. We'll see you next week.